Your MCP client needs to launch a FastMCP server, but manually constructing the exact command with all dependencies and environment settings is error-prone and inconsistent across different machines. We'll examine the standard MCP protocol configuration format that FastMCP generates, specifically designed for client consumption. This minimal example shows the core structure with the UV command chain, absolute path enforcement, and FastMCP integration flags, while supporting optional fields like env for environment variables. The configuration follows the MCP protocol standard, which clients like Claude Desktop and VS Code expect, and can be validated using FastMCP inspect before deployment.
MCP servers. My server. Command UV. args. Run. With. FastMCP. FastMCP. Run. /absolute/path/to/server. Hi.
This demonstrates the MCP protocol's standardized configuration pattern for server execution. The format uses declarative JSON to define how MCP-compatible clients should launch and manage servers, creating a portable contract between server implementations and client applications. Unlike general deployment configurations, this pattern specifically targets MCP client integration, ensuring consistent server behavior across different MCP environments. The approach works by encapsulating all execution requirements in a structured configuration that clients interpret uniformly. The command field specifies the runner, UV, while args constructs the complete execution chain, including FastMCP integration via the with FastMCP flag and the server entry point. This minimal example shows the core execution pattern, though the format supports additional fields like env for environment variables and can be programmatically generated or validated using FastMCP's MCP config utilities. The configuration uses absolute paths to eliminate working directory ambiguities. And while FastMCP can generate this format directly, some MCP clients may require explicit wrapping in an MCP server's object. This standardized configuration solves the problem of client-server interoperability by providing a single, portable definition that works across the MCP ecosystem. The pattern enables consistent server execution, whether used with Claude Desktop, Cursor, VS Code, or custom MCP applications. While requiring initial configuration effort, it eliminates client-specific setup complexity and enables features like dependency management through the with flag, making it particularly valuable for teams working across multiple MCP-compatible tools. Let's break it down line by line. This defines an MCP protocol server configuration in JSON format, specifically designed for MCP client consumption. The MCP server's root key explicitly groups named server configurations, ensuring compatibility with MCP clients that require this wrapper structure. Each server entry specifies the runtime environment, UV, command chain for FastMCP execution mode, and absolute server path, eliminating environment-specific path resolution issues. The minimal format shown supports optional fields like env for environment variables and can be programmatically generated or validated using MCP config utilities and FastMCP inspect.
MCP servers.
Defines the MCP protocol server configuration namespace. This key explicitly groups server instances for MCP client consumption, with FastMCP supporting both wrapped and root-level configurations, though some clients may require explicit nesting. The format maintains portability through absolute path resolution while enabling programmatic manipulation via MCP config utilities and validation through FastMCP inspect.
My server.
defines a named MCP server configuration using the MCP protocol format. The key, my server, acts as a unique identifier within the MCP server's collection, enabling multiple server definitions in one configuration file. This format is specifically designed for MCP client consumption, separating server execution parameters from application logic. While FastMCP can automatically wrap root-level configs in MCP servers, some MCP clients may require explicit nesting for proper interpretation.
Command UV
specifies UV as the process runner for the MCP server. This is the first element in the command chain that will execute FastMCP run against your server. Hi, using OV's optimized async runtime instead of the standard Python interpreter. The MCP protocol format shown here is specifically designed for client consumption, with validation available via FastMCP inspect format MCP.
args
The args array defines the exact command line invocation for the MCP server process, with each string becoming a discrete argument in the execution chain. This follows the MCP protocol configuration format, where UV run with FastMCP enables FastMCP integration mode, and the subsequent FastMCP run initiates the server execution with the specified Python entry point. While this shows the minimal required structure, the format explicitly supports additional fields like env for environment variables and can be programmatically generated or validated using FastMCP inspect. Note that some MCP clients may require explicit MCP servers, wrapping even when the root appears to be a server name.
run
The run argument in the command chain specifies FastMCP's execution mode, telling the CLI to start the server rather than perform validation or inspection. This follows FastMCP's command pattern where the first, FastMCP, selects the tool, and the second, FastMCP run, defines the operation, distinct from modes like inspect or validate. It's part of the MCP protocol configuration format, visible via FastMCP inspect format MCP, designed for MCP client consumption rather than general deployment. While minimal here, this structure supports optional fields like env for environment variables and can be programmatically generated or validated using FastMCP's MCP-config utilities.
with
The with flag enables FastMCP's runtime plugin system. It's required for MCP protocol support, tool registration, and performance optimizations when running under FastMCP's execution mode. This is part of the command chain UV run with FastMCP run, where the second, FastMCP, specifies FastMCP's execution mode rather than acting as an entry point.
FastMCP
This argument specifies the FastMCP module name required by the preceding with FastMCP flag. It enables FastMCP's execution mode, where the runtime initializes tool registration, context management, and MCP protocol handling before executing your server script. Without this, the process runs in standard Python mode with no FastMCP capabilities.
FastMCP
This is the MCP protocol configuration format for server execution. The second, FastMCP in args, enables FastMCP's execution mode, activating its optimized runtime features like dependency injection and protocol handling. Note this is the minimal MCP-compatible format shown by FastMCP inspect format MCP. Some MCP clients may require explicit MCP servers wrapping, while FastMCP can handle both wrapped and root-level configurations. Environment variables can be added via an optional env field, and configurations can be programmatically generated using MCP config utilities.
Run.
The run argument specifies FastMCP's execution mode, directing the runner to start the server process rather than perform validation or inspection. This is the required subcommand in the FastMCP CLI chain that transitions from setup to actual server execution, following the pattern UV run with FastMCP run entry point. The MCP protocol format shown here is specifically designed for MCP client consumption, representing the minimal viable configuration that clients expect when managing FastMCP servers programmatically.
/absolute/path/to/server. Pi.
Absolute file system path to your server's main entry point. MCP protocol requires absolute paths to guarantee consistent execution behavior across different working directories and deployment environments. This path must point to your server, Pi containing FastMCP tool definitions where the MCP serve or equivalent initialization occurs. The configuration follows MCP protocol format, visible via FastMCP inspect format MCP, designed specifically for MCP client consumption rather than general deployment. While FastMCP can sometimes auto-wrap root-level configs, some MCP clients require explicit MCP servers nesting for proper interpretation. This closing bracket terminates the args array that defines the complete command line invocation for the MCP server process. The array structure maintains strict argument ordering required by the UV runner, with the second, FastMCP, entry specifying FastMCP's execution mode rather than serving as an entry point. This configuration follows the MCP protocol format, visible via FastMCP inspect format MCP, where environment variables and additional settings can be added as sibling keys, while maintaining compatibility with MCP clients that may require explicit MCP servers. Wrapping. This closing brace terminates the MyServer configuration block within the MCP server's object, maintaining valid JSON structure. The format represents MCP protocol configuration, visible via FastMCP inspect format MCP, where FastMCP clients may require explicit MCP servers wrapping, while some MCP clients handle root-level configs directly. The minimal example shows the required fields. Command chain with UV run with FastMCP for execution mode and absolute path to server. Pi. Environment variables are supported but omitted here, and configurations can be programmatically generated and validated using MCP config utilities. This closing brace terminates the server configuration object within the MCP protocol format, ensuring valid JSON structure. The format represents MCP client configuration rather than general deployment settings, with FastMCP automatically wrapping root-level configs in MCP servers when needed, though some MCP clients may require explicit nesting. This minimal configuration supports additional fields like env for environment variables and can be validated using FastMCP inspect or generated programmatically via MCP config utilities. Closing brace terminates the MCP protocol configuration object. This format defines server execution parameters specifically for MCP client consumption, separating deployment configuration from application logic while supporting validation through FastMCP inspect. While some clients may require explicit MCP servers, wrapping, FastMCP can process root-level server definitions directly, with environment variables and additional CLI arguments supported but omitted in this minimal example. FastMCP MCP protocol configuration. This JSON structure defines server execution parameters in the MCP protocol format enabling consistent client-server integration through declarative configuration. The MCP servers wrapper ensures compatibility with MCP clients, though some clients may require explicit wrapping of root-level server configurations. Absolute paths in the server. PI reference guarantee reliable module resolution, while the UV run with FastMCP command chain enables proper FastMCP runtime integration. Environment variables are supported but omitted in this minimal example, and the configuration can be programmatically validated using FastMCP inspect format MCP.
The server that never knows its path arrives everywhere.